If you're a heating and air conditioning technician, salesperson, or in-home salesperson, what do you need to know about a possible commission scam? And why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Sylvan Bell, coming to you live for HVAC Technician Sales Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business, and a fantastic day to talk about you. I'm coming to you live from Haleiwa. Okay, so I want to get this out from the very beginning. I will say a good majority of business owners are really good people, okay? And let's peg it at like 0.5% are the bad apples. So perfect and out of the way, I am not saying it's every business owner. I'm saying it is a small offset of the group of business, okay? And so if you didn't know this, every time there is a manager's meeting, there is an accountant or a manager in that meeting who's very jealous of what salespeople make, their income, their commissions. And so they sit in meetings and they complain, look at these whiners, look at these complainers, look how much money they're making. You know, they sit around and they do nothing, okay? So these people start scheming. They start coming up with ways to take your money. And sometimes, occasionally, it's that little super small subset of business owners who do this. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. We're going to use some really simple math. It doesn't mean that these are the numbers that you use in your trade or your organization. I just want you to be aware that occasionally you work for a company and the management team decides that they want to change the rules. Occasionally you work for a company and the owner says, I want to take home more pay. Occasionally you have a company that buys your company and they change the game and the pay structure for you, okay? So once again, this is not all, this is some, it's a few, not everybody. So please don't come to me with sand in your emotional crevice saying Scott is bad, okay? This right here is why you should join HVAC Technicians, HVACTechSecrets.com. I'll give you the goods, not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel. It's an email publication. You'll get emails from me, okay? Really easy. So I got my $12 whiteboard that I brought from the mainland, and we got options. Option one, right? This is the old school way, possible way that you're doing it right now. You got a $20,000 job, you sell it for 20 grand, you get a 10% commission, okay? Which would net you out $2,000. And with that being said, you might have had a 10% max discount. So what people will do, what these unscrupulous people will do is they will say, okay, how do we move the ball? How do we move the needle on these salespeople so that we can pay them less? And in the world of car sales, they have this thing called minis, which means you get the minimum amount of commissions. They'll pay you like 50 or $100 for selling a car, okay? So the heating and air, the in-home service world has done this game where they're like, well, wait a minute. If we go and jack up the price and put the commission and the price where it is right now, but if you discount beyond what your scope of line of discount is, you get a mini. So what that would look like is this. They go, oh, well, at a 10% discount, you get a mini. At a 10% discount, we don't have to pay you out. So they take your $20,000 price that you had to begin with, and they jack it up 10%, and now you're at $22,000-ish dollars, okay? $22,000. So then you take a 10% drop, you discount 10%, and that job sells for $19,800. And they're like, well, you hit your max discount line. Guess what? Now you got a mini. So essentially what they did was they took your commission, they took your commission plan, they moved up, you know, the cost of the equipment. You were at 20,000 before, you're at 22,000 now. You discount what you normally would, and you would see money come to you, and then now you don't. So occasionally, this is, once again, this is not everybody. This is some companies. This is some scumbags. I'm just going to say it. We'll play games with your money. We'll play games with your commissions. But be aware, this happens when companies spend too much money on a project. This happens when companies spend too much money buying some luxury goods. This happens when companies get bought out, right? It's not every given situation. So if you're like, hey, Scott, if you had to start over, what would you do? What would you look for? I would look for a company that's got a really straightforward comp plan, right? There's legal requirements, especially like in the state of California where I'm from. Things have to be spelled out a certain way. Great, I get it, okay? But if it is so complicated and so convoluted that you need to have a math degree to follow it, something bad's going to happen. And it's not going to happen in the beginning. You're just going to like, it's always that feeling like, man, I always feel like they're getting one over on me. I thought I was going to make 10% on this job and I made 9. Or I thought I was going to make, $1,000 on this job and I made 800. I can't figure this out. right? That's probably not a spot that I'd want to go. But if it's the place that's got all the leads, you may have to put up with it for a while, right? I would look for people who are straightforward and don't play games. And it's unfortunate that sometimes in the industry, things like this happen. It's unfortunate that there are bad actors. And if you're watching this and you're like, hey, Scott, I think that's a good idea, don't do it. You will lose salespeople. You will lose very good people on your team, right? Like I am all for profitability inside of a company. I am all for making sure that a company has everything that it needs, but there's a point where you lose some credibility. And if this is the game that you're playing, you've lost credibility in my mind, just so you know, right? And if you're like, hey, Scott, I was thinking about hiring you, but you let the cat out of the bag. I'm like, I don't want to work with you. I really don't. Like, this is not the type of company that I would want to work with. Like, if you called me for consulting, I'd be like, yeah, nope, not going to do it. Right. So I may lose money, just so you know, as a viewer of this channel, I may lose money on coaching and training. And I'm okay with that because it says volumes about the person that I would be dealing with. If you're playing this many games, don't want to work with you. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here, just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, you know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.